and close community. We saw the Sister Unity and Sister Lydia. Our next guest is the only openly gay Major League Baseball player, current or former, alive today.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We got to talk about the LA Dodgers Pride Night controversy. So a month ago, the LA Dodgers decided to invite a group of drag queens by the name of Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to the LA Dodgers Pride Night so that they could be honored as community heroes. They rescinded their invitation, and then they re-invited them one more time. So they invited them, took the invitation back, and then invited them again. Now, the clip that we saw in the beginning was the drag queens being honored at the LA Dodgers Pride Night. And as you can see, the stadium was pretty empty. There wasn't much support there. However, there were 10 times the amount, probably even more, people outside in protest of the Dodgers celebrating this group of drag queens. You know, they go around, and they've been doing this for years. They dress like nuns. So, you know, to a Catholic person, it's clear as day to see how this could be offensive. You know, the whole role and purpose of a nun is to take a vow to live a holy life. It's nothing holy about being a drag queen. So they are indeed making a mockery of nuns and the Catholic faith. I don't know what the LA Dodgers were thinking, seriously. I understand that it's Pride Night. I understand that it's Pride Month, whatever. But I'm sure they could have picked a group of people to honor that aren't disrespecting nuns and disrespecting the Catholic faith. I'm not even a Catholic myself. I'm a Christian, but you know, the stuff that this group is doing is a clear cut and dry mockery. You know, they're calling themselves sisters. I don't even want to call them by that name because they're not even sisters. These are men. These are grown men dressing up as nuns. It's ridiculous. But we're about to get into this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're watching. Now let's roll it.
We begin with the large protest outside Dodger Stadium over the decision to honor a controversial group of Pride Night.
Hundreds of people making their voices heard even before the first pitch. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher live outside Dodger Stadium with more on what has some Catholics so upset. Michelle?
Well, there are thousands, a few thousand people here for this demonstration, a protest. One person telling us, though, it is more like a prayer service or a prayer vigil because they do come with a peaceful message, but they are making their message and their voices heard loud and clear. I'm going to actually step a bit out of the way so you can see what's going on behind me. This is Stadium Way, so a lot of people that are making their way to tonight's Pride events will have to pass this protest on their way to the stadium. They actually, this group, getting ready to march to the stadium right now around 5 o'clock. They tell me they'll be walking up the street to the stadium, carrying their signs and voicing their message. We also want to
look at this. Look at this turnout. Look at all of these people. It's amazing.
Take a look at some Air 7 HD video to give you a look of what it looks like overhead and how large this crowd is overhead and what it looks like as, again, a few thousand protesters, many of them Catholics, are marching in response to the group, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, being included in tonight's Dodgers Pride Night.
So let's pray.
So it's important to understand that this is a prayer and not a protest. We're basically praying for the so-called nuns.
This group of a few thousand demonstrators is being vocal tonight about their issues with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence and the group's inclusion in Dodgers Pride Night.
We should be tolerant of everybody. Likewise, they should be tolerant of our faith and our feelings.
Shirts and signs sprinkled in the crowd calling for a boycott of the Dodgers after the team invited the sisters to accept a Community Hero Award as part of tonight's festivities.
The Dodgers are doing, allowing this group to be here, it goes against the Catholic faith.
If they were to do that with a Muslim group, no one would put up with that.
Sisters telling KABC at last week's Angels Pride Night, the entire house plans to attend tonight's Dodgers game. This after a controversial back and forth that saw the sisters initially invited by team, then uninvited, then finally re-invited amid backlash. Inside the stadium, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts addressing the controversy.
I do think that we should still all be able to coexist. And for me, it just always goes back to loving everyone. And as the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, a baseball team, we welcome anyone that comes through these gates to support our ball club.
Now, Air 7, I understand, is still overhead. You can see the group of demonstrators now making their way up Stadium Way and going to Dodger Stadium again as they carry signs, crosses. They're wearing shirts that say boycott the Dodgers. This just really a tremendous show of support here for Catholics. Back out here live, you can see the demonstrators and protesters as they're making their way, some of them addressing the camera and waving as they make their way up Stadium Way. Our viewers might remember last week's Angels Pride Night and the response that was there. One of the people we spoke with then telling us that they would have a tremendous show of support tonight. Someone was here all the way from Ireland, other individuals from Texas. So we will have another live report coming up at 6 o'clock as we keep an eye on this this prayer here. They want to make it known that it's not a protest, it's not a demonstration. So this prayer here, live from.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more.
All right, so you guys saw that. I think it's amazing the turnout, the amount of people that came out to pray and, you know, push back against this stuff, and rightfully so. Like the guy said in the video, if this was Muslims, if this was happening to a Muslim group, the Muslims wouldn't be having that. And I think the same should go for a Christian group or Catholic groups. If it's people making fun of the faith, go out there and show them that you can't be trifled with so easily. And the worst part about this group is, well, there's a lot of things wrong with this group, these so-called sisters. But I mean, first and foremost, these aren't sisters. These are grown men putting on makeup and, you know, dressing up as nuns. But I watched the video on them, and I'm not going to link it because I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike or nothing like that. But they openly admitted that they dress the way they do to be inflammatory for attention so that they could draw eyes to their cause, their trans LGBTQ drag queen cause. That the only reason they dress up this way is to bring light to their cause. So they're basically just disrespecting the Catholic faith and other faiths alike to bring light and attention to their pro LGBTQ trans drag queen causes. That's all they're doing. And like I said, I don't know what the LA Dodgers was thinking getting behind this, but I think this just goes to show that there is, even in places like, you know, California, Chicago, New York, wherever it may be, in places that, you know, most people think are extremely woke and that have no chance left on earth, there are plenty of people, a lot of people who are not with all of this, you know, woke stuff, all of this, you know, this radical LGBTQ movement stuff. There are plenty of people in places that you would not expect that are not for this. Now, there's a player by the name of Trevor Williams who plays for the Washington Nationals who tweeted out this, which I'm about to read on the screen right now, in response to the LA Dodgers hosting this group of drag queens for their Pride Night. And he was also interviewed, and I'm going to roll that clip. But first, I want to read this. As a devout Catholic, I am deeply troubled by the Dodgers' decision to reinvite and honor the group, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, at their Pride Night this year. A Major League Baseball game is a place where people from all walks of life should feel welcome, something I greatly respect and support. This is the purpose of different themed nights hosted by the organization, including Pride Night. To invite and honor a group that makes a blatant and deeply offensive mockery of my religion and the religion of over 4 million people in Los Angeles County alone undermines the values of respect and inclusivity that should be upheld by any organization. Creating an environment in which one group feels celebrated and honored at the expense of another's is counterproductive and wrong. It is a clear violation of the Dodgers discrimination policy, which explicitly states that any conduct or attire at the ballpark that is deemed to be indecent or prejudiced against any particular group or religion is not tolerated. It seems that the Dodgers have made an exception in this case, doubling down that this group, which grossly disrespects and openly mocks many of the traditions and beliefs that Catholics hold most dear, should be celebrated. I believe it is essential for the Dodgers to reconsider their association with this group and strive to create an inclusive environment that does not demean or disrespect the religious beliefs of any fan or employee. I also encourage my fellow Catholics to reconsider their support of an organization that allows this type of mockery of its fans to occur. I know I am not alone in my frustration, hurt, and disappointment about this situation. As Catholics, we look to Jesus Christ and the way he was treated, and we realize that any suffering in this world unites us to him in the next. Couldn't have said it any better. Like he said, to show support for a group of people who have a certain set of beliefs is fine, but if that group of people is making a mockery and disrespecting another group of people's religious faith, that's not cool. Now let's see what Trevor had to say about his tweet.
Trevor, why did you feel so strongly that you wanted to make that statement?
It had to be said. We cannot stand idly by while our Lord gets mocked. And before I hit send, you try and do as much research as you can, right? You see the horrific videos that were posted of them. You read about what they were trying to do. These things that are deeply offensive to us. And then you see that, well, they're doing these things. They're raising money for this, that, and the other. They've been doing it for over 30 years. But it was the point when the Dodgers re-invited them after knowing very well what they've been doing for the last 30 years.
To give them a Community Hero Award.
Correct. And at that point, I looked at the Dodgers Code of Conduct. I'm like, look, or the Dodgers Fan Code of Conduct, and it said you cannot wear anything or say anything that goes against anybody's age, gender, creed, religion. And at that point, it was like, this is going against their code of conduct. It's a blatant anti-Catholic message that they're sending, regardless of how much, quote unquote, good they've been doing in their community. But when I saw how deeply offensive it was, doing awful things to the cross, doing awful things about Stations of the Cross, like it became a point where these negatives are not, they shouldn't be honored, and they shouldn't mock a certain group.
Because you did say in that statement as well that you believe all groups should be welcomed and respected when it comes to Major League Baseball. So this group specifically, the group who call themselves the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, what is it, if we get to the core of it, that you believe is mocking your Catholic faith?
Yeah, I think if anyone with two eyes and a brain can see that they're mocking the religious habits of nuns. They're mocking what we hold most deeply and what are our core convictions. They're blatantly mocking it.
All right, so you guys saw that. Shout out to Trevor Williams for standing strong in his faith and speaking up against this stuff when most people who make millions of dollars and are on contracts, whether it be athletes or entertainers or whatever, they won't speak up against it, but he actually did. So shout out to him for that. As a person who is famous, he could come under heavy scrutiny for it, but at the end of the day, he knows that there's only one person that can really judge him. That's the man above. Like he said, if you look with your own two eyes, you can clearly objectively see that these people, this group, is clearly, blatantly just mocking and disrespecting the Catholic faith, the Christian faith, the cross, and by connection, Jesus Christ. I had to blur out what they were doing to that cross. That's just way too disrespectful. I could hardly stomach it, but I can't show that to you guys. I'm gonna leave the link to this video in the description below, but I couldn't share that. It's absolutely disrespectful what they're doing. And this is the group that the LA Dodgers decided to get in bed with and honor as community heroes for their Pride Night. Like I said, man, I get it. It's Pride Night. That ain't my cup of tea. I don't rock with the Pride Night and all that stuff. But, if you want to honor somebody, pick a group of people that's not blatantly disrespecting and mocking, the Christian and Catholic faith. Don't do it. These are men dressing up as nuns, doing nasty things to the cross, man. They crossing lines, they crossing boundaries. And you honoring them as community heroes, but as a Dodgers fan who happens to be a person of faith, I don't care whether you're Christian or Catholic, this gotta be a slap in the face. Gotta be a slap in the face to you as a Dodger fan. But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on your way out the door. Hit that notification bell on your way out. And until next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.